Hi there, my name is Brooke, and this is my first ever attempt at making and documenting a creative vlog. This is my January wrap-up, and I started off January by documenting all of the knit items that I've made in 2022. So if you want to stick around, I'll show you everything I made. First thing I made in January was the Dorotha Polo by Gregoria Fibers. I made this in twill worsted weight in Twister from Knitpicks. I made the sleeves a little too short. I was running low on yarn, but overall I'm very happy with how this turned out. And I love the texture of it. It's so soft. Next thing I made was the Stockholm sweater from Petite Knit. I made this in the beautiful color of Bluebell in their Knitpicks palette yarn. I'm so happy with how this sweater turned out. Although I made it a little bit too big, I was making a lot of maternity wear and didn't realize I was making a giant sweater. Next thing I made was a test knit for the Bennett blouse by Fable Knitwear. Not sure if the pattern has been released yet, but you can check on her Instagram when it will be released. It was such a fun make. And the next few things I've made were a self-drafted pattern I made. Been kind of calling them the Baryshnikov tights. They're baby tights that I made with full feet, so I don't have to fumble around with socks. They're so easy and I grab them all the time. I really love just pairing them with anything else, but he does look like a little dancer when he wears them. Next thing I made were quite a few of the Little Brothers rompers from Petite Knit. I made a cream, a mustard yellow, and a pumpkin, and I also made a few others that I gifted to some relatives and family and friends. Really happy with how these turned out. Made this one in cream with a little bit of embroidery on it. So happy and so cute. And then this is the pumpkin shade. I made this one in Cotton from Knitpicks as well, and it's very washable and so nice for him to wear. I like to window shop online, and knowing that I can make a lot of my own things, I saw a Zara hat that I made for my son using 2 types of yarn. Very happy with how this turned out. Next thing I made was a test knit for Fable Knitwear again. This is the Fuzzy Pixie Hood, and it has been released, so if you want to go knit this up, it is a very easy and quick and very quirky knit to make. I made the Sunday balaclava from Petite Knit. This gray version was supposed to be for my son, but is way too big. It fits me. So I made 2 other versions, a blue version and this beautiful like green jade version for my 2 sons. I was actually very surprised at how fast and quick these were to make, and it was able to practice the Italian bind-off method, which I am not good in this clip, but I have practiced and have gotten a lot better with making that. At the beginning of the month, I was working on the Selma's sleep suit from Petite Knit to make for my youngest son to wear on our walks outside. We've been having some quite cold weather lately, and I just needed something to bind him up so that I could wear him in my baby harness, so that he would be completely covered from head to toe and fully insulated and warm in this really nice wool from Knitpicks. It's their Simply Wool in Wilhelmina, I believe. I bought it a few years back, and I finally got around to using it. I'm trying this year to use up as much of my stash as I can, just because I don't need to buy any more yarn. I have quite a bit that I need to go through currently, so using this yarn in this project is just one step towards getting my yarn stash down to a more manageable size. I know not all of these buttons match, and I honestly don't care if they all do match. I bought them secondhand from a thrift store, so I'm just using what I have, and they do the job just fine. added cute little bear ears to the top of the hood, but other than that, the pattern turned out really well. I'm very happy with how it came together. Very happy to use up this wool, and I know that my little guy is just so nice and warm when he wears this. I put him in this with an extra hat on top of his other clothing, put him in the baby harness, and I'm able to walk both him and my older son to daycare every day, and it is awesome. This year I'm trying really hard to be a good knitter and really block and do a lot of test squares for each of my knitting projects. I find that I like to kind of skip over this step, and it doesn't always have the best results in the end. Everything I knit, I want to be purposeful, and I want to make everything with the best intention of wearing it and it being the best that I can make it, not only for the thing that I'm making, but for my own skill and technique that I want to improve each time. This is yarn that I had previously knit up quite a few times and kept ripping out, so this is its third life, I think, and I'm really trying to use this up for the last time. I think I've done it, but I just want to make sure that blocking it will take out all of the extra crimping. My oldest son's birthday is coming up, and along with moving the toddler bed/crib out of his room, I wanted to update his room by painting the trim and the doors the same blue as the lower half of his walls. A helpful tip for painting multiple days in a row: instead of cleaning your brushes every day, I always will load up the brush with an adequate amount of paint, use tin foil to wrap it up, and then put it into the fridge to just cool it and keep it wet. That way that the brush doesn't dry out, and you can use it over and over again until your project is done. And I find that there's no texture issue, there's no clumpiness in the paint. It is completely fine. And painting is the most satisfying thing. I think I could watch this for hours, even though the joke is that I don't want to watch paint dry, but I could watch paint being applied all day. The paint I'm using is actually an eggshell paint, which is not the best for using on doors and trim. They usually say to use a satin or a gloss paint. Just for high traffic areas and touching, you don't see all the fingerprints. But I wanted to use up what I had, so I'm using this eggshell paint, and I don't have a clip of it, but I go over it with a clear coat. Starting up my third Stockholm sweater from Petite Knit in that green color that I was using the test square for. And then also starting a cloche hat, because I am an impulsive project maker. I find a project and I absolutely have to drop everything until that project, that thought, is out of my head. I love crocheting, I just never do it that often. I find I go towards knitting a lot, but using this project to kind of get me back into crochet is a kind of breath of fresh air. I forgot how much I actually like crocheting. Now, I will remind everyone that this is not a bucket hat. This is the 1920s version, or the original bucket hat, which is a cloche hat. And again, being a good knitter, crocheter, blocking everything so that it's nice and neat. Finally got a sunny day to film all of my sewing projects that I've made for 2022, and taking off my slippers first. This is a mock-up of the Matilda dress from Cool Stitches. She made a pattern for a nice long billowy dress, but I just wanted to test out the top first. And I've actually worn this top a lot, and as you can see, it's quite big on me currently, but that's because I made this while I was still pregnant. So to wear this again, I will have to take it in, and that is a running theme for all of the things that I've made this past 2022. Like this one is also something else that I made while I was pregnant, so I will have to take this in. Easiest thing would be to take it in from the back, but that really messes up the straps, so I think I'm going to have to take it in from the sides just to have it lay nicely. I love a dress with pockets. It's so comfy and cozy. There is nothing more relaxing and nicer for me to wear than bed sheets. Feels like I'm in bed all day. Another bed sheet dress. This one I self-drafted. I also found this pattern on Pinterest, and aside from the unique neckline, I really wanted to make this dress for the purpose of being pregnant and how much I am able to kind of expand my waistline and move around in. And who doesn't love nice puffy sleeves? And this was an anniversary dress that I made for a date night with my husband, and again, pockets. I really like the neckline of this dress and how far apart and how just nicely the straps lay. I find that sometimes I do a square neckline and there's some gaping at the top. As baggy as this dress is and shapeless, I really like how it fits, and I don't think I'll be taking this one in. This is a dress that kind of reminds me of an apron. Another maternity dress I made just to be nice and flowy. I will be taking this one in because I think that is just a little too revealing on the sides. I find I wear this dress a lot with another shirt underneath. I've also been wearing it less tightly bound and just a little bit less shapely. Very comfy. This is a jumpsuit I made around June, and I made it based off a pattern of another jumpsuit that I already own. Bought it off Target quite a bit back. This is something I've already taken in because I made it for being a lot bigger, and I wanted to wear it postpartum, so I took it in at the sides and added the tie again. Really nice and fun and lightweight. Back to crochet, I used the same type of yarn that I used for the first cloche hat, and I wanted to make a second. This one did not turn out too well when I tried to pull out the middle yarn. But basically, I'm going to make a second cloche hat to put inside the first one to kind of support the brim and have it more structured. A lot of the original cloche hats that I've seen are very structured. They're most often felted. And as crafty as I am, I'm not ready to take on a new hobby like that. Trying out the cloche hat, really liking the shape. I made my own pattern, just kind of working on it from a few references that I found online. The rolling up of the brim is just something that happens because I was working on it with my hands. This will go away after blocking it, as well as attaching it to the shell. So the slight difference between these two hats is not tremendously different, but I just like the color variation and the option to wear a lighter hat or a darker hat, so because now I can make it reversible. And the structure of having two at the same time is very nice and what I was looking for. Again, blocking because I am a very good wool artist, and this one I made a little bit smaller, which I really shouldn't have. I should have just made it the same size as the other one, but with blocking I can kind of fix that up a bit. Stretching it out, laying it flat. I will, while this is blocking, flip it a few times to just not have a harsh crease on the sides so that it stays nice and round at the top. This is me attaching the two pieces together. I'm taking the very top, the center of each hat, and I'm going to thread my needle with some matching yarn and going to do a few stitches in both the top and the shell and the liner, and I'm going to thread them together, so attach them at the top, and make sure that they're nice and secure. Now that they're attached, I just kind of divide the sides to make sure that they'll line up. And taking 4 stitch markers, I will pin them all together all around so that it is evenly spaced. So when I sew the brim together, there is no twisting and everything is nice and flush. Using the darker yarn to do a running stitch across the entire brim to connect everything together. Also taking that darker yarn and making a small bow at the back to denote where the back of the hat is, so that the beginning start of all of the rows are not right at your forehead, they're hidden at the back of the head. This is just something I like to do so that I know where the back is, and it also looks very cute. The hat is finished, and I'm surprised at how fast it came together. Really happy with the shape and the fit of it, and I think it's exactly what I wanted to make. Also very happy that I was able to make it reversible, which you'll be able to see here. And I'm going to try to do this one-handed, and flip, 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 fall, flip, flip, and back on. And there you go. I think this would be really cute to add a bow or a sash to it, like a actual cloche hat. For right now, I'm just going to keep it plain. My month of January was a blur as to how many projects I was able to make and finish. So weird to go back on all these clips to see how much I was able to enjoy my creative hobbies, which is the whole point of making this and future videos. I've tried to film separate videos of my me-made wardrobe for 2022, but to make it easier on myself and ease my way into documenting and filming, I decided to just bundle everything up for the month into these big videos. And I hope to do this again. Starting my creative journal, and I hope to see you again next time for February. I have a lot of things that I'm working on currently. Bye.